Everybody, welcome back to Life with Zach. Today I'm going to talk some more about my Kubota Z-Return. A little bit ago I bought a Z231, ZBR231 Kubota Z-Return 48-inch deck. There's been two other videos I put together talking about some different parts of it. So if you're watching this and want to know a little bit more, you can be sure to check those out. This is kind of part 3. As you can see, I've got the seat up, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about what's under that and the motor and the back end a little bit. So to start off with, under here, you can see these are the latches for raising the seat. It's pretty durable, pretty solid mechanism that holds the seats down, and actually relatively easy to use. You just push this one back and releases the seat, which is folded up here. Under here, the big thing is, of course, the fuel tank. Right here, it's a plastic tank, pretty standard, 5 gallons. When I first got this thing, it was using a lot of gas. Like, I had to basically fill up every time I was mowing because it was empty. But after the third mow, it's really adjusted itself the opposite end, and I've got about 3 or 4 mows in on a tank of fuel. So I guess it was just as everything was sealing up, getting warmed up, getting broken in. But now it's doing a whole lot better, and I'm much happier with fuel consumption. Over here is the actual fuel fill. Pretty accessible over here on the side, easy to use, comes off easy, cap is attached. The one thing the guy that sold this to me recommended was that when you fill it, instead of looking for the fuel coming in here to know when to stop, you watch the tank, and you'll see, of course, when the fuel comes in here and gets up to about right here. And then he said you should stop, because they have a lot of problems with people filling it and then overfilling it and splashing back on them, because if you wait till it gets up in the neck in the chute here, he said you probably will overflow it. So that's one tip to keep in mind, is just watch where it comes up in the tank. Also down here, you've got your hour gauge. This is upside down, so you can't see it right now, but I do have 5 whole hours on this mower. I've had it for about a month now. First mowing season. Like I said, everything's going pretty good. Also down here, we have our fuel line. Goes in right here. It's got a shut off here. Runs back here to the mower, so you can follow it here back to where it goes into the mower right there. Fuses, there are 4 fuses, 2 5s, a 10, and a 15. Relatively easy to get to in case we ever have to change anything. And over here's the battery. A little dusty right now, but I like that this one was relatively easy to access. I've had some that were hard to get to. Some you had to take things apart. I know, like in my car, it's a pain in the behind because you have to take a bunch of stuff out. So this one, I'm pretty sure I can change myself. It's only got a little strap here that comes undone, and then the 2 connections there, positive and negative. It's got here, this is the sensor for the seat right here. Let you know when the seat's down, seat's attached, because it will turn off if the seat, if you get off the seat, the pressure switch in the seat. But basically that's everything that's under here, underneath where the seat is. The seat mechanism itself is pretty solid. You can see the welds here. I mean, they're not spot welds, but they're also not solid welds either. So, but that's pretty good. The seat itself, hard, solid plastic back here, metal on the bottom, metal tracks, folds back easy. Hear that latch, armrest. Seat's still good, seat's still comfortable. Kubota name in there. Stitch really nice, I like that. Here's the roll bar. Roll bar's really solid. One thing, this roll bar does not fold down. Had I gone with a commercial version, it would have folded down. So please keep that in mind if you're making your decisions. This one does not fold, so you have to make sure you get one that will fit under your trees and things. I have one spot that this will hit, so I have to be careful. But the rest of it, everything goes under. But even the guy I bought it from and everybody else that I've talked to has said they have hit one thing in their yard and popped a wheelie with their mower. So please be careful, as that can be pretty dangerous. The other option, of course, you have is you can take these off. There's a simple bolt down here. I wouldn't recommend that because obviously this roll bar is on here for safety. But if you absolutely have to, you can do that. But this thing is solid. I really trust this rollover protection system from Kubota. I looked into it, did some research on it, and it seems to be a really good one. Of course, the seatbelt has to be worn for that to go with it. But I have some banks and stuff, and I was worried because the zero-turn slides a little bit more than other mowers. I wanted that extra protection, so I like that. Back here is our mower. I have a 22 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. There's a couple different options that you can get depending on the type of mower and the size of mower. This was the only option for the size of mower I wanted. You can go up 26 horsepower is the next one up. Of course, that eats a lot more fuel. You're going to be able to go a little bit faster. But for me, only having 3/4 of an acre, I didn't need that step up. And that's why I have a 48-inch deck. That's why I have this motor. I just didn't need all that extra. Of course, one can always use it, but I didn't need it. Back here, on the back, over here, hydraulic fluid reservoir. One thing, when you get these, there's only going to be a little bit of fluid in that, if any at all, okay? What happens is when you run it, that fluid expands up into that reservoir. So you don't want to fill it all the way to the top before you run it, because it will explode out the top. So one thing, if you go look at these, or you're talking to somebody and you're looking at their mower, just realize that it's supposed to look like it's empty, okay? But this is pretty solid. I mean, it's plastic, but it's pretty solid for plastic mounted on there. Oil dipstick right here. Easy to access. Easy to check. I like that. I had an old Bolin. That thing was on the side, and the rail that held the fenders and stuff, the hood on there, was in the way, and when you had to put it in or take it out, you could never get it exactly right. It never came straight out. Always hit something with it, or had to angle it so that the oil ran, so I never got a really good reading. So I like that one's right there. You can just pull it right out. Also back here, here's your exhaust system. Your muffler runs out the side. Great protection back here. This is really solid. You can see the frame rail here. I don't know what gauge metal that is, but that's really tough. That's one of the reasons I went with the slightly upgraded version of the zero turns versus some others, because I wanted one that had this strong metal frame on it, and that continues all the way around. You can see it over here under the seat and stuff. So I'm confident that this thing is going to hold up for a really long time. Also back here is our air filter. So this one is pretty simple. This unhooks. Just unscrew here. This comes off. Here's our air filter. Easy to access. There's actually two filters here. There's our top foam filter. This thing pops out, and underneath is our regular air filter. So this one can just be taken off and cleaned. The other one does have to be replaced. But I like, that's easy to do. I can do that myself. Slips right back in there. So goes right back on, and I can screw it back in. So maintenance for this thing, preventative maintenance, seems to be pretty easy. I haven't had to do any of that stuff yet, but I think I'm going to be able to do a lot of that myself. So that's about it for today, for this part 3 of my mower review. Be sure to check out the other 2. I'll have some new ones coming out soon. Like this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Subscribe to my channel as new stuff comes out. Making suggestions to me, and I hope you're enjoying Life with Zach. We'll talk to you soon.